Hey everyone, welcome to Imperial Commander Development Diary number 2. Today I'm going to show you a few things that I didn't get to show you during my first video. I'm also going to show you something that I realized I needed to do after making that video, something that was a little tedious and I realized I could do better. So we're going to go ahead and quickly start a new mission, get this set up, and we're going to go right to the map editor and put down a tile. It doesn't matter. So in the first video, I showed you how you can assign properties to what I call map entities. And map entity, again, is anything on the tile. It could be a console, deployment point, a door, a crate, anything. So we're just going to put a terminal. And now when you double click it, the properties has changed. Before, when you activate a map entity, if you wanted that to fire an event, you would first have to create a trigger. When the trigger fires, you would fire the event in turn. So you'd have to create a trigger and an event just to fire an event. Because it was like a cascading event, chain of events that would, no pun intended, that would occur when you activate a map entity. No longer have to go through that rigmarole. You no longer have to create a trigger just to activate an event. You can do that directly within any map entity now. So first of all, you can just when you click on a map entity, it displays a series of options, and you can modify like buttons. It shows buttons in the app, and you can change what the text is on those buttons. And you can change what happens when you click on each button. So opening a door, opening a crate, what have you. So now when you do the properties, when you go into the properties for map entities, you can create a new button, blank, it does nothing. See, fire trigger, none, fire an event, none. And the way it was before, where you could have the button fire a trigger, you can still do that. You can create the trigger right within the property box now, and then it'll add that trigger, the new trigger. And it added it up here to all the triggers in the mission. But now you can create an event within the map entity properties, set up your event, and now when you click that button, you can fire the event directly. You no longer have to fire a trigger and then have that trigger activate the event. So that is a vastly new and improvement. So that is that. And we'll go ahead and delete that. Now the next thing I want to show you is something I didn't get to show you at all. If you go into properties, there are two things. I went over these briefly, but I didn't actually implement it in the mission that we created. So we have event groups and random map entity groups. So what's an event group? Event groups are groups of events, and instead of triggering or activating each event, you can trigger the group, the event group, and it will randomly select out of your events that you've put in the group, it will randomly select one and activate it. And by default, each event in a group is unique, which means it will only activate once. So it'll activate it and then kind of take it out of the list. And then if the event group is activated again, it will look inside its group and see, is there another one? And it will randomly pick one and it will activate that event, and so on and so forth until the whole event group is spent and it will no longer do anything. But by hitting reset upon completion, you can actually have the event group reset itself, repopulate its original group of events, and keep firing them again. And you can choose to have those events unique, which means, again, they will only fire once in turn randomly. Or you can have them not unique, and they will truly randomly fire. So it's possible that an event could fire 2-3 times in a row, or not at all for several activations before it finally does. And we're going to see that in action. So I'll go ahead and get rid of these, and I'll create a few events. Let's just do 2 of them. And just to keep it simple, it's just going to be text. So event 1, and let's rename that. Let's just call it E1, E2, event 2. All right. Oh, did I put? That's better. Right. Now, create a new event group. It doesn't matter what we call it. And there's our E1, add it to the group. E2, add it to the group. And event groups, this is another change I made recently. Previously, you could only fire an event group by firing, again, just like events, by firing a trigger first. Now it's optional. Now you can actually make an event, and I think it's under General. Yeah, activate event group. Now you can directly fire an event group without having to have that trigger middleman, as I call it. That's gone. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So in our map, we have to have an entity to click on. Let's make, again, a terminal. And then we'll have to put an event that will fire directly. We'll just call it terminal event. And we're going to use that new event action, activate event group. There's the one we just created. Simple as that. Hit accept. And now in the terminal, click me. We're going to add a new blank button because we've already made the event that we want it to fire, so we'll just add a blank button. And we'll just change the text to click. And then it will fire the event, terminal event, which will fire the event group. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and set up the next thing I wanted to show you, random map entity groups. Random map entity groups are kind of similar to event groups, except we're dealing with map entities. So again, you create a random map entity group, and you can add, this time, map entities. So doors, terminals, deployment points, anything. And you can swap around where these appear in the map. So you would lay all the entities you put in here, you would put on the map somewhere. And then using a random map entity group, instead of having them spawn all in the same places, they will look at each other's position and randomly assign themselves to each other's positions. And it allows you to create a little randomness to the mission each time you play it. And I think the easiest way to show that is to create, I guess, terminals. Let's use terminals because we can change the colors. Actually, a crate. Let's use a crate. There's a crate, and this one will make blue. And just duplicate it, and this one will make red. And we'll go ahead and rename these. Red crate, blue crate. Go back to our properties, add a random map entity group. We'll just leave the name default, but there's our blue crate and our red crate. That's it, done. Now when the mission starts, it will look at everything in the group and it will randomly assign their positions. So when the mission starts, it could look like this, where the blue is on the left and red's on the right, or it could take this position and assign it to this entity. That's what I was trying to explain before about how it looks at each other's positions and randomly assigns them to each other. So the mission could start and the blue one could be on the right. You never know. One other thing I forgot quickly, in the terminal event, because we are going to be triggering it a couple times, we want to make sure this event is repeatable. Otherwise, it will not fire any more than the one time, a single time. Go ahead and hit save. And you're going to see something else new here. I got in the little pop-up dialog that shows you what tiles and entities to place whenever a map section reveals itself. So just to sum up, what we're going to look for here is the locations of the blue and red crates, and I'll run the mission a few times so you can see that it randomly places the crates. And then we'll look at what the terminal does when you click on that. It'll show there's two events. One's labeled Event 1, the other one's just pops up a text that says Event 2, and those will randomly appear, one or the other, each time you click on it until they're both spent. So blue on the left, red on the right. That's how we designed it. Let's see what the RNG gives us. Mission starts. Here's that nice little box. It'll tell you, it says, oh, there's a map tile, so you'll need this. Prepare the following tiles, and then place the following map entities, and it'll tell you which ones that you'll need to put on the map. So this is new. Red. See, we designed it as blue-red, but it appeared as red-blue. Now we run that again. It could be the same or it could be different. It's all random. Red-blue. Blue-red. So there's your randomness, randomly assigned. Now, I got the texture on that crate, or not the crate, the terminal. Got the little texture, the little terminal computer. So click on that. Click me. Okay, Event 1, Event 2. Remember, it's going to randomly pick which event to fire. So same thing could happen again, or it might give us event 2. It gave it good. I was hoping I wouldn't have to repeat it too many times. So if this time it gave us event 2 first, and then event 1. And now that all the events in that event group have been spent, it will do nothing because it knows it's not set to repeat. But if we had taken that event group and set it to reset upon completion, it actually would have gone into firing these events again when I keep clicking on that terminal. And I think that's it for this development diary. So I will see you next time.